Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a truly fascinating perspective on relationships, drawn directly from our source material. Listen, if you're feeling a little, exhausted by the endless swiping of modern dating apps, this one is absolutely for you. We're going to explore a unique philosophy that blends cosmic, spiritual destiny with highly proactive, down-to-earth self-improvement. So if you've ever wondered how much of romance is meant to be and how much is literally entirely up to you, well, this analysis is going to give you a whole lot to think about. Okay, let's dive into this. This brings us right to the central paradox of romance that the text really sets out to solve. On one hand, we have this massive romantic ideal that there's just one perfect person out there for us. But on the other hand, we have the practical reality of, dating, timing, and personal growth. So, are we just sitting around waiting for fate to strike, or do we actively need to prepare the ground? Interestingly, our source material argues that it's actually a deeply intertwined combination of both.
Section 1. The Red Thread of Fate, Promises Before Birth. To really grasp this framework, we first have to look at its foundational spiritual premise. According to the text, the journey to finding a partner doesn't actually begin on a dating app or, say, at a local coffee shop. It begins long before we're even born, over in the spiritual realm. The source explains that there's a red thread of fate. In this view, marriage isn't just some earthly accident or a random collision of two people. Instead, partners actually make a pre-birth promise to each other in the spiritual world. They vow to spend decades together, to build an ideal home, and crucially, to contribute to society as a team. It really gives marriage this profound, planned, and purposeful origin story.
Section 2. Broken Threads, When Destiny Needs a Backup.
But we all know earthly reality is messy, right? So what happens if wars, global events, or honestly just bad timing sever that primary red thread? Well, the text actually dismantles that rigid, sometimes super stressful myth of the one true soulmate. It reveals that everyone has 2 or 3 backup connections. These are people you've shared ties with in past lives, standing by as secondary destinies. It's essentially ensuring that even if things go wrong, circumstances don't just leave you doomed to be alone forever.
And that brings us to a really powerful piece of advice from the source. It explicitly warns against passive fatalism. The idea that you should just sit back and wait for destiny to do all the heavy lifting, or obsess over whether your current partner is your absolute primary soulmate. Instead, personal agency is paramount here. The text urges us to cherish and nurture the connection with a person who is actually right in front of us. This isn't about settling, not at all. It's about recognizing that crossing paths at all implies a meaningful spiritual bond, one that requires your active effort to really blossom.
Section 3. The Dog's Tail Paradox, Chasing versus Attracting.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate trap of modern romance. Having established the spiritual background, how exactly should we behave in the dating world? The text uses this great metaphor of a puppy frantically spinning in circles, just dizzy and exhausted, trying to catch its own tail. It's called the dog's tail paradox. Basically, the harder you chase a partner who checks off an exact, rigid list of ideal conditions, the faster they seem to run away. But if you simply stop spinning and walk forward with purpose, the tail naturally follows right behind you.
So, the crucial point is that the text flips the script entirely. Instead of focusing outward and endlessly hunting for the perfect person, you must focus inward. The absolute priority here is to polish yourself. You kind of have to ask yourself a very serious, maybe even tough question. If my ideal partner walked into the room right now, would they want to marry me? It's a massive shift in perspective. By actively becoming the ideal, you naturally attract the ideal.
Section 4. Spiritual Support, Partnering with Guardian Spirits. To actually achieve this transformation, the author recommends a daily routine that brings unseen forces right into your corner, beautifully merging the spiritual with the practical. According to the source, everyone has a guardian spirit who knows exactly the kind of person who will make you truly happy. The secret is to pray to this guardian spirit daily, morning and night for a good encounter. But here's the catch. It's not just a wish list to the universe. This prayer must be coupled with a strict vow to polish yourself daily and maintain a beautiful, believing heart. Your active, daily self-improvement is the actual magnet that allows your guardian spirit to guide the right person straight to you.
Section 5. Manifesting Marriage, The Power of Mental Cinema.
Let's move to and see how this builds into real-world action. So you've polished yourself, and you've met someone with whom you share a genuine connection. How do you bridge the gap between a promising encounter and a lifelong physical and psychological bond? Well, the source outlines these 4 actionable steps to manifestation. We've already covered the prayer and the self-polishing.
Now we enter the visualization and behavioral phases. You have to vividly imagine married life with this person and then practically create an atmosphere that naturally makes them conscious of marriage. To do this, the text introduces a super fascinating test called mental cinema. You essentially project a movie of your potential future with this person onto the screen of your mind. You picture the wedding day, the honeymoon, raising children together, and finally, growing old and looking back on a life well lived. But here's a really important cautionary detail. The source warns that if your mental cinema abruptly stops at the wedding day and you simply cannot picture growing old together, well, this might actually be the wrong match for you. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is the final behavioral tactic that comes into play if your mental cinema flows perfectly. The text advises you to start acting the part. You subconsciously guide your partner by naturally adopting the supportive, comforting atmosphere of a spouse. By behaving in a way that makes them feel they're already in a secure, happy partnership, you gently induce a marriage proposal. You don't force it, you don't demand it. You simply create a subtle, welcoming environment where marrying you feels like the most natural next step in the entire world.
Section 6. Destiny meets action. Summary.
To bring this explainer full circle, the source material presents a remarkably balanced view of human relationships. The red thread of pre-birth promises and those incredibly helpful backup connections provide the invisible framework of our destiny. But the actual securing of that bond, that requires profound human effort, serious self-polishing, and practical psychological preparation. Which leaves us with this final, vital thought. In your pursuit of a happy romance and marriage, where is your energy actually going? Are you exhaustingly chasing an external ideal, or are you doing the internal work to become someone your ideal partner would want to marry? I hope this explainer has given you some powerful, practical insights into your own romantic agency. Keep polishing, keep moving forward, and we'll see you next time.